Live from the Clarity from Chaos studios, heard worldwide, it's Dave Campbell. On every episode, Dave and his guests explore, discuss, and work on solutions to some of life's biggest challenges. So, if you're ready, be prepared to be enlightened, amused, and even shocked by what you hear. And now, the real, the authentic, the one and only Dave Campbell.
Welcome back to another edition of Clarity from Chaos. In an age of information overload, it is not to wonder why everyone is walking around scratching their head, trying to figure out some sense of what's going on. Well, this podcast is dedicated to trying to make some sense out of that chaos. On this episode, we welcome someone who spends a lot of time adding clarity to that very chaos. I'm speaking about the host of the syndicated radio show, The Truth with John Gordon. Mr. John Gordon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dave. Nice to be with you. We do need to bring some order to chaos.
Yeah, we certainly do, or we're trying. I'd like to start out with your thoughts on the Trump cabinet, John. I think we're down to like 3 people left on getting the cabinet filled. And I'd like your thoughts on where we're at, because to me, it pretty much looks like we've established a dream team compared to the other presidencies that I've seen.
You mean people who are going to tell the truth?
Yeah.
You know, that's all. It really, I personally think my belief is that, well, there are a lot of things that make Donald Trump who he is, and a lot of things that allow him to resonate with the public. But I think that the first and foremost is he just tells us the truth.
Yeah.
And I ran for attorney general in Georgia, and I'm not being boastful, but I felt like I resonated with people. And it wasn't anything in my personality or anything in the way I presented. I just told the truth. Yeah. What a novel idea.
Yeah.
And I wanted to win, but I wasn't going to win by not engaging in the truth. So I think, to answer your question, I do think it's a dream team. I think they're rock stars: Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Doug Burgum, Scott Bessent, Secretary of Defense. I didn't think he was going to get it across the line, but
I didn't either. I didn't think Tulsi was going to make it either. But
Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, these are people who the Washington establishment dumped on.
Yep.
And then they tried to dump on them through the confirmation process.
Right.
So that's the thing that just boggles the mind. They are insane because they keep doing the same things over and over and again and expect a different result. And they just get defeated at every turn. When are they going to wake up? How can you defend millions of federal workers who don't even come to work, who don't even show up at the office?
No, and quite frank, are prideful of their delinquency, right? I mean, they go out on social media, and you see pictures of them in the bathtub, at 2:00 in the afternoon, and on and on and on and on. So, but I can't figure out, John, and this maybe you can answer this for me. We're dealing with politicians here, and right now Trump has got a 60+% on finding fraud and abuse in the federal government. And the Democrats are railing against that. From a pure political standpoint, I would think that they'd be all over it, right?
Rod Emanuel said, that's not the hill you want to die on.
Yeah.
It's lunacy to say that we're going to spend money in foreign nations for someone's leftist political agenda that basically is immoral. And we're spending U.S. tax dollars for that. Excuse me, I'll try not to cough. But
it's okay.
Battling a bad cold. But it just bewilders me that they want to say that he's Hitler, he's a fascist, he's anti-democratic, while they're being anti-democratic. They're complaining about Musk doing work for the federal government for free, by the way, saying that he is a Lone Ranger independent contractor. And that's what a million bureaucrats have been doing for the last 30 years.
Right.
They don't follow the law. They just pursue their own ideology.
Well, and it's interesting to me because the Republicans, as well as the Democrats, are responsible for the waste, fraud, and abuse that Musk is finding, because all of them have not been paying any attention as far as oversight on any of this stuff. I mean, the other thing that I guess bothers me is the USAID, when Kennedy brought it in, basically destroyed the garment and furniture industries in this country. And that hasn't even been discussed.
Well, you make a good point, and I don't think that President Kennedy's motives.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, started USAID was anything like it turned out to be. I think somebody just found out that it could be a certain little
slush fund,
hidden piggy bank, slush money.
Yeah,
that they could use for their own devices.
Yeah, and there's been a pretty quieting of the monies that were shuffled over to Stacey Abrams.
Yeah.
I'd be real interested on the financial institutions where this money got shoveled over to, and actually follow that to the account basis to where we can get that money back, right?
Yeah, I had dinner with Jim Jordan a month ago, and I said, Congressman, why have you not subpoenaed Ray Epps and his bank records?
Right.
And we could answer whether he was a plant in about a minute once we get his bank accounts and we see where the money came from and put him under oath. Mr. Epps, is this Bank of America checking account the only account that you own?
Right.
Do you have any offshore bank accounts?
Yeah.
Where did the funding for your bank account come from?
Right.
And just put him under oath. And if he lies, then, it's jail time. But there's no way I believe that J6 was an organic riot.
Oh, heavens no.
You watch the Epoch Times documentary on it, and
no.
Cash Patel had a documentary on it. It was a rigged deal from the beginning.
Right.
And the fact that they took Ashley Babbitt's life and that other lady who died in the tunnel, and did you see the savagery and the sheer brutality that she was dead and this deranged cop continued to beat her?
Yeah.
What in the world? And where is the accountability? What happened to him? In Michael Butler's case, or it's not Butler, Michael Byrd, he got a promotion.
Yeah.
And was cleared of any wrongdoing.
Right.
And if that wasn't a misuse of deadly force, I've never seen it. If Ashley Babbitt was black and Michael Byrd white, there would have been riots in the street, and we would have had a national crisis.
We'd have had another Floyd incident where they tried to burn down the other Democratic cities in this country because they didn't get Minneapolis completely burnt down. They didn't get Seattle completely burnt down. They didn't get Portland completely burnt down. But to your point, if from a racial standpoint, we had flipped the script on that, you're absolutely right. They'd have gone nuts.
Well, my belief is that the people who are talking about wanting racial harmony are the ones who do more harm for racial harmony than any good.
Well, I think Obama took decades of maturing ourselves past the civil rights era in this country and threw it all the way back into the 50s. And I think it's going to take some time for society to mature its way back to where we were before Obama took office.
Well, I started out, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, truly believing that, I actually think that Martin Luther King did want equality. I do believe that that was what was in his heart. But the people who have come after him, it's no longer about equality. It is about you've worked, you've saved, you've gotten a nest egg, and I want it.
Yeah. It's all about money and control.
It's all about money and control and power.
Absolutely.
And the day that we can stop our selfishness, and really, to me, if every American lived by the 10 Commandments, this would be a wonderful country.
Well, even if they just lived by half of them, John, it would be pretty good.
Just
or the politicians.
Thou shalt not lie.
Yeah, or the politicians themselves actually thought of the country before before themselves. It would be pretty helpful.
There you go. And I think that's why Donald Trump resonates. I think
Yeah.
he governs for us.
Yeah.
Is he perfect? No, he's not perfect. Only perfect man to ever walk the earth. We haven't seen or heard from him being president for
No, and
2025 years.
right, and us Christians are just waiting on his return. So,
and I don't know if that'll be a good thing or a bad thing.
John, I don't know, but faith would tell me that it'll be a good thing.
Well, I certainly hope so, but I think he's going to come back pretty pissed off.
I think he cannot be pleased with what's going on or what has gone on.
Yeah,
I just, if you just sit there and talk to him over a cup of coffee, he'd be going, be a TF. I mean, come on,
Yeah, what are you people thinking?
Yeah, exactly.
And it seems so simple to me that if we want to get along, we just do unto others as we would have them do unto you, and that we would tell the truth.
Right.
Just tell the truth. And that's what I want Donald Trump to do. I want all the secrets to come out because I believe, and I think he knows it. Not what I believe, but I think he and I are in very much agreement that the federal government is rotten to its core.
Yeah.
It is beyond lost and possibly gone. We're going to have to go through some very significant unpleasantness to correct it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I want to know who killed JFK. It wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald.
No.
I'd give you my last dollar on earth.
No.
If you could prove to me.
And I will be surprised if we, as the consuming public, get all of that story, John.
We need to get it.
Oh, I know we do.
The CIA and the intelligence community has had a stranglehold on this country for 60 years.
Yep.
Do dastardly deeds. They operate outside the law. They kill people if you get in their way. I don't know who tried to kill Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. What I do know, I don't believe that it was Thomas Michael Crooks. I'm not even sure it was Crooks that was on the roof. There's another guy, Maxwell Urich, who was the same age, height, and stature as Crooks. He had gauges in his ear that he had taken out, and he had long scars that were left from them. And the guy on the roof has scars on his ear. Crooks didn't have any gauges or ear piercings or scars.
Right. Well,
and
I'm not
Michael
even.
Crooks' parents filed a missing persons report on him July the 14th, the day after the attempted assassination. He's disappeared off the face of the earth. He's the guy. He's a 30-year-old who was in Portland, Atlanta, New York, all the hot spots in 2019. He ostensibly fought. I don't know what he was doing, but he was in Afghanistan. He had CIA ties, and he showed up in Butler, Pennsylvania. And the news media showed his van being towed away right after the attempted assassination. And he's just disappeared. And the body on the roof was cremated 10 days afterwards.
Right.
And they washed the roof off within an hour of when it happened.
Sure.
Get rid of the DNA. I mean, it is so obvious to me. You look at the perimeter that they had as the security perimeter. It was a perfectly formed pie-shaped circumference, except the AGR building was intentionally carved out. And
Right.
that was the most vulnerable place in the whole theater.
Well, the other interesting thing, John, is the forensics on, I can't remember the gentleman's name that took the bullet that went past Trump.
Oh, Corey Compouture.
Yeah. But I don't know if that was a 5.6 NATO round that came out of that AR-15. Was it a 308 round? I don't know.
We will never know.
No, exactly.
Evidence has been destroyed.
Yeah.
I wrote the district attorney in Butler County, Pennsylvania, like July the 20th, probably. And I said, a murder was just committed in your jurisdiction.
Right.
Are you going to investigate? It is not a federal crime. It is a state crime. You're the DA. Do your damn job. I didn't say it like that. That was the effect.
Well,
Crickets. Never got a reply. And I don't
no,
think he's lifted a finger.
I don't either. And quite frankly, he was probably told not to.
Well, you think? I
Yeah.
think he was probably threatened. They probably said, don't look into this if you know what's good for you. That's their standard
Yeah.
phrase.
Well, the interesting is all the stuff that I read around JFK's assassination almost fits the same kind of scenario, right?
Absolutely. I've pointed that out on my radio show. The similarities are unmistakable.
They're spooky, actually, because of, the way everything was set up. And Bobby's dad, the way things were all set up just didn't make any damn sense,
Yeah.
Well,
I think there is serious evilness present in our country. And I think that it is concentrated in certain areas of our federal government.
Yeah.
We have lost our moral authority to lead. We are no better right now than a third-rate country. If you think otherwise, you're just kidding yourself. We have all the We have all the promise in the world.
Right.
We have so many wonderful things going for us. But our government is, like I don't know a better way to say it. It's just plain rotten. And until you go in there and clean it out with a big fire hose, I think really, I've been in a email thread with a writer for the AJC. She and I have really been going at it. Ms. Willingham. She wrote the dumbest article, and I told her so. I did tell her it was stupid about Elon Musk and Doge, and that it was going to make Atlanta traffic even worse because we have 60,000 workers, and he's going to make them go back to the Richard Russell building and the IRS and the other federal agencies that are located around downtown and outside in the suburbs. Like, that was more important than getting the people who are being paid to do a job to come to work every day.
Right.
94%. 94%.
Well, and they absolutely had a conniption fit because they were asked to actually demonstrate what the hell they got accomplished.
Well, and as President Trump said, it was really just to see whether as much about to see if they would answer their email.
Exactly. Even acknowledge the damn email. Right.
Yeah, just acknowledge it so we know that you're alive.
Right.
And that you're really doing your job and reading your email.
Right.
That the check's getting to the person that we're sending it to.
Yeah. Well,
it's out of control. It is absolutely out of control. But what I'm trying to say, and then I'll be quiet. We have to expose all of this.
Oh, no.
To bring the American people up to speed. I know it because I spend half of my waking hours studying this stuff and reading and talking to people. And you know it. You do the same.
Yeah.
But the average American, and I'm not faulting them. They've got a job to go to. They've got bills to pay. They've got children to raise. They've got a bad boss. They've got problems in their marriage. They've got whatever it is consumes them. And when I was in my thesis, that was what was consuming me. Building my marriage, building my business, raising my children. I didn't have time for politics. But, until we really get the American people awakened, we don't have a chance of fixing it.
No, and I agree with O'Leary and I guess Trump said the same thing, John, that these cuts need to go a lot deeper. A lot damn deeper.
Look, he's been at it for a month. Look at what he's found.
Yeah, I think over almost 70 billion now. He's getting close. But the sad part about it is Congress has got to codify fixing this crap, right?
Yeah.
And we have to hold our representatives' feet to the fire because they weren't paying attention and they were so worried about trading stocks on the inside than they were paying attention to sending $20 million worth of transgender BS to Thailand, right? So
it just makes you crazy that they would be that reckless with my tax dollars because, I really have worked for that.
Yeah.
That money.
Well,
I work to be able to pay those taxes.
But the problem is it's not their money. That's the problem. They're playing with somebody else's money.
Absolutely. Yours and mine.
Yeah. And so unless like Musk said the other night on the Hannity interview, unless you care and care deeply, it's all lost. It's a shame, but there's damn few of the 435 individuals that hold airspace, if you will, in Washington have that mindset. There's a few, but I would say by and large, it doesn't come anywhere close to 50%.
Well, I think that John Fetterman is showing that he actually has a conscience.
Well, you know what? I made the comment the other day that Fetterman's been an absolute pleasant surprise to me, that he's actually chasing these issues. And he's basically come out and said the Democrats, you're being stupid for railing against this waste and fraud. So yeah, I agree with you completely. He's turned out to be, I almost feel like I need to apologize to the man,
No, I don't think you need to, because I think he's late to the party. And
yeah.
Is it genuine? I don't know. Trump swamped Pennsylvania. I think Fetterman's reading the tea leaves, and he's a political animal, so he's going to go with the wind. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't care how he gets there, but I just think that the people that are serving us need to represent the American people's best interest.
Yep, I agree.
I just don't know that they're not in on it.
Well,
150 billion went to the Ukraine, and
exactly
Biden said that, and Zelensky said, "Well, where'd the other 50 billion go? I only saw 100 billion."
Yeah, that's the problem. The other problem is Raytheon standing up and clapping over sending all the missile technology and everything that they build to the Ukraine, right? The CEOs are sitting there cheering on, go ahead and send those tank buster missiles and everything over there. We'll build them as fast as we and Lockheed can build the damn things, right? So.
Yeah, the military industrial complex is a huge entity in our national economy. And I hate war. I hate war.
That's where it's going to get interesting when Musk goes after the DOD.
Yeah.
It's going to get real damn interesting between that and Medicaid and Medicare, because the fraud and abuse in Medicaid and Medicare has got to be next to, it's got to probably eclipse all the rest of it.
I really don't have a lot of insight into it, although, I read smatterings. It would sound like you're onto it. I just don't have enough visibility over it personally.
Yeah.
But
Musk going after the DOD is going to prove to be real interesting, John, because I've just got to believe, back years ago when we were hearing about the $600 toilets and everything else, Well,
I remember 50 years ago, 60 Minutes ran a story about the Pentagon, and they were talking about $500 hammers.
Right.
It's been going on for a long time.
Yep.
So who's getting the money? President Trump said the other day that a lot of these bureaucrats, they'll put a contract in place and the payments just keep going. Ad infinitum.
Yeah.
Nobody, and the guy who put the contract in place has left the federal government.
Yeah.
And he's probably getting a kickback and money under the table.
Well, he's living in the Bahamas.
But the payments just keep going on interminably.
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't even know if anything's being provided of value for it.
Well, the interesting thing is, all you have to do is ask the fundamental question, given the salary that these politicians make on a year-to-year basis, how do they go into Congress at that number? Or, for example, AOC, how does she go into Congress as a barista and then all of a sudden in 3 to 4 years be worth millions of dollars?
I think 24 million is the number I read. Nancy Pelosi, 200 million. Dianne Feinstein was worth 100. Her husband did business with China.
So that's the fundamental question right there. How did you go from $170,000 a year, like, Joe Schmo out here in Minneapolis, and in 4 years, all of a sudden be at $24 million? How did that happen? What is your secret, right?
Well, it's either insider trading or money under the table, or they're just really shrewd investors. I've been investing all my life. I've done pretty well. I can't match those returns. I don't know that anybody can. The current minority leader, he's worth $75 million. What's his name, from New York?
Oh, Schumer?
Schumer.
Yeah.
Schiff, a prosecutor. I don't know how much he was making. 125, 150. I don't know what a prosecutor makes.
Yeah.
He's worth $65 million.
Yeah.
So it's just rotten.
Yeah, it is.
And it needs to be cleaned up, and I don't like it.
Yeah. So let me finish up our talk on the judicial interference that's going on. Fortunately, there's been 3 congressmen now that have grown a set and are actually pulling together articles of impeachment, which is absolutely appropriate. Your thoughts around that? Because the judicial activism in this country, I think, is one of the things that's going to derail Trump and Musk.
We have intentionally made it difficult to get to judges.
Right.
And what I mean when I say get to them, I mean hold them accountable. And I get that. But again, we've lost our way.
Yeah.
You got a judge right down there in McDonough, Brian Amaro. I thought he was a good guy. We had a case that against the Fulton Board of Elections after 2020. All the Fulton judges recused themselves. It got sent to Amaro. He looked at our evidence. He said, "You all have demonstrated a prima facie case. I ordered the absentee ballots to be unsealed. Come back next month with your plan for when, where, and how you want to inspect them." We never got that hearing. And when we did finally go back, he dismissed the case based on standing. 9 months into the case. That motion was argued at the very beginning of the case.
Yeah.
That's when standing is determined. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to Judge Amaro. I really don't. Something caused him to turn 180 degrees. And so then we get stuck with Judge McAfee, and you talk about a shrinking violet. That guy said, "Oh, well, there was evidence of impropriety and conflicts of interest. So we're going to resolve it by just one of you resign. Just one of you." Yet there remained there of, what is it, the term? I can't remember. An air of something that he wrote in his opinion. And so he said, "But if you don't like it, I'll grant you an interlocutory appeal to the Court of Appeals." In other words, I don't want this potato here. Judges, you take it. And the Court of Appeals said that Fani Willis had to get off the case.
Right.
That she had violated her oath and the rules of prosecuting.
Right.
And what we saw there is just a disgrace. Shay Moss and Shay Moss and her mother, Ruby Freeman, got a judgment against Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
For $140 million. Yet we can see in the State Farm Arena on video, people working there taking the same stacks of ballots and putting them back through the tabulators time after time after time. Yeah. We studied that video, and in one case, they scanned the same roughly 100 ballots, 30. The problem is they're lost. They're in a stack.
Right.
And you'll never be able to get those ballots out.
No.
To find out, but you can see on the Secretary of State's website, there are over 3,000 duplicate ballots. So anybody looking at the ballots can say, yeah, this ballot and that ballot, they're the same.
Well, Catherine Engelbrecht is petitioning Musk to go after voter rolls as part of his auditing. which I think would be extremely interesting.
You have to sue in many places. The Secretary of State or the elections officer of a county.
Right.
You have to sue them to get them to remove dead people from the rolls.
Yeah.
They're just sanctioning voter fraud. And this whole thing about voter suppression is such a crime. It is a big manipulation to make us feel bad.
Sure.
We don't want to be accused of suppressing people's votes. So we cower and look the other way. I'm sorry, I'm not falling for it.
Well, I think the American public is beginning to not fall for it either, John.
Yeah.
I think they've overplayed their hand substantially in that regard. And I think a new dawn has awakened as far as the voting public. So where can people find your show, John?
Well, we're on the John Fredericks Media Network every Saturday from 12 to 2. We're in Atlanta on WMLB, and Memphis, Nashville, Richmond, Norfolk, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Morgantown.
There you go.
And you can also find all of our past episodes on rumble.com. Just go there and search for John Gordon Truth. And if you'd like to help us out, I'm not asking for money, but if you would take 2 minutes and go on YouTube, Rumble, Getter, X, and just subscribe to our page, it would move us up and the algorithm would push us out to more people. We haven't been doing a live stream for long. We get about over 5,000 to 6,000 people listening on the live stream just on Getter. So we estimate that our radio audience is over 200,000. We would like to build the live stream and the podcast, which are basically one and the same, so we can have a bigger megaphone.
Yep, you bet. Well,
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I think what you do, and in a very, very tiny, itsy bitsy way, what I do is becoming more and more important, because you're seeing the corporate media start to fade into the sunset because of their lack of authenticity, lack of true reporting, their political agendas and whatnot. I think they've, to a certain extent, run their course, and they've screamed that the sky is falling long enough that people are looking at them like, are you absolutely nuts?
So Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski lost half their audience during the 2024 election. So what happens? The only people left are the people who are just hardcore, hard left.
Yeah.
So what happened? As soon as Trump got elected, those little twits got on an airplane and came down here to Mar-a-Lago and
to kiss the ring. Yeah.
What did they think they were doing?
Yeah.
Well, Trump was gracious and received them. He didn't
care.
He didn't care. He's happy to talk to anybody, I think.
Yeah. No,
Guess
I don't
what
think.
What happened then?
Yeah.
The people that were the hard leftists got really mad that they went and tried to make nice with Trump. So they lost another half of their audience.
Yeah.
These people, thank God, they are flagrantly, patently incompetent and morally bankrupt, because they do not know the difference between a truth and a lie. And they're willing to lie to try and build their ratings. And the American people are done with it. They're absolutely done with it.
I think what they're trying to do is from a revenue standpoint, John, which just shows a gaping hole in their integrity and their character. But
yeah, it's all about, like you said it best. It's all about money.
Yeah.
It's not about truth.
No, it's about the Benjamins. Yeah, it's just about the Benjamins.
Just about the Benjamins.
Well, we've been talking to John Gordon, the host of the syndicated radio show, The Truth. And John, it's been an absolute pleasure. Sorry for the cold. I hope you get to be feeling better.
I'm going to go curl up next to my hot water bottle and heating pad, I guess.
Okay.
I'm on the mend.
All right, good. Well, thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to listen to more Clarity from Chaos shows on demand, go to clarityfromchaos.buzzsprout.com or send Dave an email at info@clarityfromchaos.com for information on previous shows. You can also listen to the show on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Twitter, or Google Podcast. Until next time, please remember, it's not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Be well, everyone.